Yes, guys, it is Stats with Jack time. It is your boy Jack at the Irish Hotspur here with Stats with Jack tonight. Bit of tactical vibes, a bit of stats vibes tonight, as we all probably are here for. I'm just going to be beating myself tonight, just going to be, hanging out with you guys, maybe talking about how we can be able to beat Everton tomorrow. Hopefully, you guys can stick with me for this one because, like last time, I kind of enjoyed doing it by myself. And so David's given me the opportunity to do it by myself again, and hopefully you guys can stick with me for it. Seems like we had some really good times last time. Seems like everybody enjoyed it that way. So we're going to stick with it for this time. But let's welcome some people first into the building before I even get into the stats at all. Going to Dark Sun G first man in the building, saying, "Come on, you Spurs, man. You fans must be crying now. Even if they sack Ole, they have no one to replace him. LOL." While we have Conte, thanks to them, I expect a 5-2 or 5-3 win. Sun Brace, Regia Royale, Romero. I mean, we need Romero to get that goal for you, Dark Sun G. We need Royale to get that goal, but we need Reggie to get that goal first. Reggie is so long overdue that goal for you, Dark Sun G. He really is. Tottenham Tantrum saying, "Big up, Jack." The Luke Skywalker looking for Yoda to give Spurs to awakening in the Force and them to send Everton back to the dark side. Yeah, Everton are certainly in the dark side, and Luke Skywalker, hopefully we'll be able to deliver them there and be able to send Darth Vader back to his place. Chris saying, "Dark Sun G, my deepest apologies for my error putting Catastrophe in my team lineup." Yeah, Chris, honestly, you might say unforgivable. You might say unforgivable, but I know Dark Sun G, he is a forgiving guy. He will probably find it in his heart to be able to forgive you for it. So, Chris, hopefully you can, get the condolences from Dark Sun G. Sanuska's in the building. Evening, guys. Think actually getting Conte has lifted my spirits and made me more confident for the game. Certainly should do, Zanuska. Certainly it should do. Certainly. But big yourself up. Absolute legend of the Flat Cap Army, the Harris Army, and all armies out there. Zanuska, big yourself up. Just getting to some other ones. Catman Jess saying, "Big up, Dark Sundry." Chris Dermott and Zanuska. Catman Jess saying hello to everybody else in the building. Big up, Catman Jess. Hopefully you're keeping well. And also, you're an absolute legend of also all the armies as well, Catman Jess. Absolutely love and appreciate all the support that you give David and I. And another one, just who I could say the same thing towards, is Paro Miguel Escobardo, the Don Escobardo, you might say. Good evening, fam. Statitisha con Jack loading. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. Come on, you Spurs. Big up Para Miguel. He's a language man. I'll tell you that. That guy is linguistic. And Para Miguel Escobardo, hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Hopefully you can chill out with me tonight. I know maybe you've been a bit under the weather as well, Para Miguel. So hopefully you're able to recover via some stats with Jack as well. But big yourself up, my man. Everybody's wishing each other well. Honestly, it's gonna be absolute vibes tonight, boys. It's gonna be absolute vibes, and ladies, it's gonna be absolute vibes because everybody's just saying hello to each other, just getting ready for some stats, getting ready for some tactics. Faz Radfar saying, "Big up, guys." Some fans may not have noticed, but Harry had a very good game against Vitesse. He didn't score, but was involved in all three goals. I really feel like, Faz, that's not an underrated statement right there. I actually totally agree with you there. I really do. I feel like Harry Kane did have a better game than maybe some people realize. I personally think, Faz, we've been a bit spoiled by Harry Kane in years past. So we're kind of holding him to the standard that he's been at before. Maybe we can all just relax a little bit. Maybe he'll find his way, find that old Harry Kane kind of form, and then we won't be complaining anymore. But certainly I feel like, he had that beautiful assist and layoff to Lucas. He's the only guy that can put that perfect amount of weight on a pass. And then as well, I thought, that Ben Davies, shot slash pass, Alex Davies probably thought it was a pass, but, really as well, he played a part in that. And I think he just honestly had a pretty decent game. He's also game manhandled the entire match. So I completely agree with you, Faz. Completely agree. Jack Chamberlain saying, "Been looking forward to the stream for hours." Jack, hopefully now it's finally right for you. Believe me, we'll get straight into the stats right away before just have to greet everybody. But Jack, hopefully you're keeping well, my man, Mr. Chamberlain. Sir Chamberlain, maybe. But big yourself up, my man. Come on, you Spurs. Elias is in the building saying, "Hi, legend. Hope you're well, my man." Jack, you're the legend, Elias. You're the legend, and I really appreciate all the support that you're giving me, my man. Really appreciate you. Hopefully everything's all right with you. Really, I hope everything's all right with you. Just making sure, getting some others in here. John Fitzpatrick, big up Jack and Dave and all the Harris Army. John Fitzpatrick, I hope you're keeping well, my brother. Hopefully you're keeping well. And as well, maybe you might enjoy, some of the stats that are going on tonight, as well, John. It's good to vibe with you earlier on Paxton Road and whatnot. Always good to see you in a chat. Seems like we're following each other around, John. Seems like we're following each other around. So, maybe I'll stop stalking you. But Shamu Van Spurs is in the building saying, let's hope for a win tomorrow and get your season back on track. I want a Reggie goal. Yeah, we all want that Reggie goal. Reggie goal inbound. Dara's in the building. Evening all. Big up, Dara. Hopefully you're keeping well. David's on the sidelines for tonight, just, vibing out, probably hanging out with the missus, for this one, getting some long lost time, caught up with the misses and also enjoying a bit of stats with Jacks as well. So big up, David. Hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Chris Agambar. Hello, everyone. Good vibes. It's always good vibes over here, Chris, especially on Stats with Jack night. I mean, Fridays, Saturday nights, have a drink in hand, or even just a bit of ice cream, a bit of Ben and Jerry's or whatnot, whatever you're enjoying with yourself tonight. It's always immaculate vibes, I must say. James Watson, finally some excitement about this club. Come on, you Spurs. Certainly, finally some excitement. Gina Kim, big up Gina Kim. Hopefully you're keeping well, Gina Kim. Hello. And also thank you for joining us. Itzan Khan, one of the greatest names of the Harris Army. And he's saying, big up, Jack. Big yourself up, Itzan Khan. Honestly, you're an actual tactical mind yourself. So I want you to hold me accountable tonight, Mr. Khan. I want you to hold me accountable. The Birdie18, big up, Jack and the Harris Army. Smash a like. Thank you very much, Birdie108. Thomas Thacker. Come on, you Spurs. Let's get the 3 points. Hoping for a Kane goal. I'm certainly hoping for that Kane goal. Tommy Blanche, big up, Jack, here for tactical insight. Tommy, hold me accountable, though, to it. Sometimes, I get my bit of my tactics wrong. Sometimes I even, can maybe over-exaggerate certain stacks as well. So that's why you guys are just going to vibe out with me tonight and also maybe hold me accountable at certain stages as well, because we're just going to be, talking to each other. It's a very kind of interactive show. It is a solo run show, which, puts a lot of pressure on me, but I kind of do enjoy it. It's kind of, the pressure that I do enjoy. So hopefully you and I can just be able to vibe out. And also maybe you can give me some stats, maybe teach me something as well, Tommy. So big yourself up. Kay, get your toffees ready because there's about to get melted. Yeah, put them in the oven, Kay. Just get them ready for the oven. Aaron is in the building. Hello. Big up, Aaron. Hopefully you're keeping well. Stuart Stutch is in the building for the first time in ages. I've had that nervous feeling about a game, which is good. I had lost that feeling under Jose Nuno. Watching each game was an effort. It certainly was. Stuart, but big yourself up. And now, you got that nervous feeling because, we need to win, that we deserve a win as well, Stuart. So there you are, it's that good kind of, nerves, that good kind of anxiety, if you know what I mean. Kieran Keys, big up, Jack. Our back 3-5-2 wingback formation. The defensive approach needs to be solid. Hope Conte has implemented enough for this match tomorrow. Kieran, I couldn't say that better myself. The 3-5-2 is certainly the way I would go about it. I wasn't the biggest fan of the 3-4-3 last time out. It just really wasn't. That kind of exposed maybe Højbjerg and Skippy a bit too much. And as well, we kind of considered that Ben Davies was flying forward, almost thinking he was Ruud Gullit in the last match, going into the box and whatnot. Just really exposed us a bit too much, I must say. But Kieran Keys, I like where you're coming from. I like that 3-5-2. That is absolutely perfect, in my opinion. JC, hello, Jack. Good to see you. It's good to see you, JC. It's good to see you. And also, I hope you're keeping well, my man, especially on a good Saturday night, getting ready for the game tomorrow. Me, it's going to be a bit earlier, around 9 a.m. Maybe for others, it's going to be that, nice 2 p.m. game, I believe, in the UK as well. And also wherever else you are in the world for everybody that's tuning in. It's going to be a nice kind of, for a lot of us, just mid-afternoon, even early morning, sometimes, horrible times late at night, even for people like Dark Sunji and Shamu. So hopefully we'll all enjoy it tomorrow. Hopefully we'll all enjoy it. Mr. Wemberley saying, have you heard that we have hired 3 new fitness coaches? Dele Alli might as well pack his bags now. My theory, Wemberley, is that it's actually the 3 new fitness coaches are almost being implemented for a few different players. I think Tanguy's getting his own fitness coach. There's the fitness coach for the whole team, and then Tanguy gets his own fitness coach. It's basically going to be following him around, slapping the burgers out of his hand. The moment Tanguy's on the Uber Eats app, he'll be slapping that out of his hand as well, and also just holding Tanguy accountable. I think under Jose had to go to Tanguy's house and run laps around the block with him. This time, this fitness coach will practically be kidnapping Tanguy out of his own home, putting him in the racetrack, putting him on the track, and just saying, I need you to run laps tonight. I need you to run about a quarter mile in this amount of time and whatnot. So Wemberley, I think the fitness coach, one of them is just for Tanguy himself. That's my theory personally. Clement is in the building as well. I can't wait to see Spurs beat Everton. Come on, you Spurs. Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. But everyone else is just saying hello to the Don Hotspur. Rico is in the building. Reckon it's too early to say 3-4-3 doesn't work. Consider Dombele and Gio Lo Celso haven't played in it. Fair, very fair point. Very fair point. The reason I actually would, though, maybe you're right. Maybe it's actually better to do maybe Højbjerg and Dombele, Højbjerg and Gio Lo Celso. You're probably right there, actually, Rico. You might be right, actually. Maybe it's just like I kind of I'm so used to Skippy and Højbjerg together. So I see where you're coming from. Ben Kaufman, the legend himself, saying big up everyone. Hope everyone's having a good weekend. I hope you're having a good weekend, Ben. Really as well. I really do hope you are. And let me see if I'm missing anybody. Kuva, the legend himself. Evening all. I'm rolling in late to the show, just like the Messiah, Antonio Conte. Big up Jack for soloing again, sounding more confident with it each time. Thank you very much, Kuva. I appreciate that. And honestly, again, you're absolutely sensational on the fan show, my man. I want to see you Monday again. And Kuva, really appreciate that. And honestly, show up Antonio Conte style. Instead of saying fashionably late, just say Conte late, or Antonio late. That's it's the new version of fashionably late. It's the new version of fashionably late. But thank you for joining us. Thank you very much, Kuva. Omari Sobers, but that's a great name. We need a win. We absolutely do. Chris Mossing is saying still 5,000 days until the trophy. Can Conte do it? I mean, I think that's why he's even taking the job, Chris. It's just because I think he'll be written down in history and he wants that kind of notoriety. Stephen Richardson, good evening. Hopefully an Everton win. We all hope for that Everton win. But everybody, before I get started on this, please smash that like. Please hit that subscribe button. And also as well, if you want to stop me at any point during my little stats, kind of routines, my little tactical routines, feel free to throw it in a super chat as well. Just to get your thoughts across, maybe even to the whole chat or even to me as well, be greatly appreciated. Does also help the channel a whole lot, but I do understand not everyone's in the position, especially coming weekend. You want to save a bit of money for maybe something that you're doing. Also, even maybe saving a few celebration pizza money, and things like that once we beat the Evertonians and whatnot. But everybody, I will try to get to your comments as best I can, but it is a solo show tonight, so I can't promise that I'll be as good about it as maybe we usually are. But, as always, everybody, feel free to hit that like and also hit that notification bell to never miss another Stats with Jack. But let's get started, everybody. Also, Tom C saying Ndombele will become another unit under Conte. I hope he does. I really hope he does. But let's get this started, everybody. I'm actually really looking forward to this one because I feel like, the stats are actually going to be quite interesting. We're going to start with the cold, hard facts, as we always do. Harry Kane has scored 11 goals in 12 matches versus Everton. This guy has absolutely taken them apart multiple times. Hopefully he can find that form versus the Evertonians, versus the Toffees. Conte has won his first 3 matches with Juve, Chelsea, and Inter Milan. If he doesn't win this one, it just says a whole lot about Spurs to tell you that. But I feel like he is going to grab the bag tomorrow. He's going to get that 3 points tomorrow, and he'll probably then, after the international break, grab that 3rd win, and then he'll continue that beautiful streak. I mean, that is a great cold hard fact there, courtesy of David Harris. 3-match losing streak. Everton are on a 3-match losing streak versus West Ham, Watford, and Wolves. Hopefully they'll be on a 4-match losing streak after this one. Also, their home form has really kind of, gone a bit sour, actually, I will say. They started well at home, and now they're kind of not doing so well at home. So that'll be interesting as well. Everton concede on average 12 shots per match. I would say under Nuno, we probably would have fell under that, 12 shots per match. But now that Antonio Conte is in the building, I expect us hitting that average. Everton have scored the 5th most goals this season. I think that is a bit something to be worried about. Their defense is actually quite leaky, which is maybe comparison to years past where, it actually was, a bit kind of more solid, a bit more compact. But, right now, actually, they're decent at scoring goals, actually. They do create a few fair goals. Doucouré, who's out with injury, which is a huge bonus for us, has the most assists in the Everton squad. Basically, what I mean by that is with Doucouré out of the squad, that is a huge benefit to us. But let's move on to our head-to-head. Everton have won only one of their last 17 Premier League games versus Spurs. Not their favorite team to play against. People. Spurs are unbeaten in their last 8 Premier League visits to Goodison. I think that is maybe a decent one. Maybe when we go to Goodison Park, we seem to have an easier time, no matter regardless of form, I guess, in the past few seasons. Hopefully we can continue that sort of streak, that, continue building on that sort of stat right there. Benitez's all-time record versus Spurs in 22 matches played. He's played them a lot, I must say. He has actually played them a lot. 9 wins, 5 draws, and 8 losses. So he does have more of a positive record than maybe we would like. But I think that just speaks to probably his Liverpool days. I think that was just during his Liverpool days, if I do recall. Maybe during his Newcastle days, he had a bit of a better run, but I really doubt it. I didn't look that deep into it. Benitez's record versus Antonio Conte: 2 wins, 0 draws, and 3 losses. Now that one I find to be a bit interesting. He has had a win, against Antonio Conte. He has defeated Antonio Conte, but Antonio Conte's record versus Everton, he is undefeated. He is undefeated, which I think is a great stat. I think that is fabulous to see as well. But let's move on, everybody. Let's move on to maybe Everton's formation. This is a bit of a predicted lineup, everybody, of how I see Everton setting up. Richarlison is back in the building for this one. He is going to be probably starting for this match. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is, still injured. He's still struggling to get back into fitness for this one. Yerry Mina, which is a great sign, is also, missing for this one. Luca Digne apparently might make it. He might not make it. Be a bit more of a game time decision. And I believe there's one more. I think it's Andre Gomes as well, the Portuguese international that also might not be able to make this one. So I've gone for kind of they've done a 4-4-2 or a 4-4-1-1 for the majority of this season, especially in the last like 5 or 6 games. I believe that's what they've done. So I am going for Pickford in goal, Godfrey at right back, Ben Godfrey, Seamus Coleman right back, Michael Keane left center back, Luca Digne, left back, Alexander Iwobi left mid, who has kind of been this rotating left mid weirdly in that side, and I'll explain that later. Allen playing center mid. Fabian Delph, who's now come back into fitness and also, was given, high praise by Rafa Benitez, is also going to be starting for this match as well, in my belief. And then Andros Townsend definitely will be starting on the right flank, cutting inside a lot. Demarai Gray and Richarlison will be the two up together for this one. But let's get to some comments first before I go a bit further here. Chris saying the stream under Josh Tottenham guy, Aaron, mate. Yeah, it's a fantastic stream, everybody. Please check out Josh Tottenham guy. Terry Wright, big up yourself, Terry. It's good to see you, my man. Absolutely good to see you. Just making sure I'm not missing some really good comments. Arox Beats saying we must sell Lo Celso. We really should. We really should. I mean, I'm getting a bit sick of the guy, honestly. With some of the chances he was blowing against Vitesse, really did rub me off the wrong way, everybody. It really did. John Fitzpatrick saying, left a new profile pic, bro. Looks like the last one was taken 30 years ago. Yeah, maybe he's talking to Aaron Dupp there. AE is in the building. Good to see you, AE. Hopefully you're keeping well. We shouldn't get too carried away. It's one match with the Godfather, definitely so. Good realism there. Good realism there. But hopefully you're keeping well, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. And let's move on here. Let's move on. Feel free to any moment, everybody, to feel free to stop me. If you want, a serious question for me to answer, maybe tactically, stats wise, or whatnot, feel free to put it in a comment if you like as well. To really stop me in my tracks. Feel free to put it in a super chat as well. But the key player for this one is going to be Demarai Gray. I could have gone for Richarlison. But he hasn't played too many fixtures for this one, and we do like to include a lot of stats when it comes to this kind of thing. So really the key player, I would say secretly, is, Richarlison. But, again, like I said, he hasn't played too many fixtures this season so far. And so we are going to go with Demarai Gray, who's actually, had a very hot season. He's kind of cooled down a bit, but, he's still had a great season so far. He has the most shots in the entire Everton squad with 18, tied for the most goals with 3, second most shot creating actions, which is basically chances created with 29, the most carries into the final third with 24. That is a stat that we will break down in the animations later. The guy is an excellent ball carrier, most carries into the penalty area as well with 14. He is very good at keeping very close control and kind of dictating his defender, not maybe, he's just very good at kind of manipulating the ball in certain moments and, finding a good ball across the 6 on the floor. And then as well, he's just a good carrier of the ball. I mean, it must be emphasized. Most progressive passes received, which is basically a pass of 10 yards or more. He has received the most in the entire Everton squad. Most touches in the attacking penalty area with 33. That does symbolize why they kind of gone for that 4-4-2, that 4-4-1-1. As much as Demarai Gray, sometimes you'll find him out wide on the left, but he is practically almost playing like, a second forward or a second striker at times. Second most passes into the penalty area with 10. That is completed passes into the penalty area with 10, and the most dribbles that have led to a shot on target with 3. So the guy is very dangerous in the box. He's actually very good at beating his man and then putting a shot onto the keeper, which I find to be quite terrifying. Let me know what you guys think of Demarai Gray so far this season. I think he's had a decent season. He's kind of slowed down just a little bit, but hopefully, we will find that, maybe that three in the back, he'll find a bit of trouble just because also Wolves, did give them a lot of trouble with their three in the back, with their 3-4-3. Maybe our 3-4-3 or our 3-5-2 will give them the same sort of trouble that Wolves did. Steven Richardson is saying, glad we're playing you now, to be honest. Steven, I wouldn't be so sure, mate. I wouldn't be so sure now, especially with Antonio Conte, at the helm now. I really wouldn't be so sure, especially since you guys have really struggled against the three in the back, this season. You guys have really struggled against one. Amon in Asia saying, I wish we bought Conor Gallagher. I think everybody wished they bought Conor Gallagher. I'll tell you that. Lo Celso is a player more suited to Spain or Italy, where it's a less physical pace and more tactical. I kind of agree there, JC. That's actually a good defensive GO. I actually feel like I think he's just not Premier League cut. He just doesn't really have anything that makes him. In my opinion, this might be a bit harsh, but special. Like he seems to be good at a few fair things, but he doesn't excel in like a certain aspect of the game, in my opinion. Tomsy saying, I think Wink starts tomorrow. That is terrifying if that is the case, Tomsy. Don't tell me that, honestly. Please don't tell me that. Tomsy going for a 3-1 victory. I don't see a clean sheet with us still learning the new formation. That is good. I kind of agree with that, Tomsy. I don't really see us. If we got a clean sheet, that would be spectacular. But I do feel like we'll struggle to get a clean sheet, especially because, like we mentioned earlier, Everton have the 5th most goals scored in the entire Premier League so far this season. Tyson Scott giving his score prediction. Amari Sobers giving his score prediction. Big yourselves up. Can you believe they paid £35 million for Iwobi? Yes. I mean, Everton have actually had some pretty shocking transfers in their time period. They really have. They've actually spent a lot of money, in the last, 5 or 6 seasons, and they've pretty much wasted it. And so I'm actually not surprised at all. Actually, Tommy Blanche, as much as maybe, a lot of people might be surprised that I'm actually not very surprised. Just making sure I'm not missing anything. Nuno Espirito Santo is joining us saying Tottenham 5-1 to Everton. Big yourself up. If we play like we did it against Vitesse, we will lose badly. I really do agree, Itsan Khan. I really do agree. Gunners saying 2-0 Everton. Definitely not happening. I'll tell you that, Gunners. But thank you for joining us as well, though. Please hit that subscribe. Please hit that like as well to miss another Stats with Jack. Thomas Thacker saying, going with Højbjerg and skipping the double pivot lacks a lot of creativity. That's why we need an Ndombele or Lo Celso in there. That's what I feel like as well. We need to get more bodies in the midfield because they were also getting bypassed when they tried to get forward. Thomas Thacker. So I completely agree. I really do completely agree. Kuva99 saying, I agree about not getting carried away. We're only on a one streak with Conte, just a 3-0 win, and we're definitely going to the quadruplo then. Woo! From Kuva99. Big yourself up, Kuva. I mean, the quadruplo is on if we win this one. The quadruplo is on. I'll tell you that. I really will tell you that. I mean, I completely agree, my man. I completely agree. Unsung hero is going to be Andros Townsend for this one. It's going to be Andros Townsend. The guy has actually had a spectacular season so far for the Toffees, with the most shots on target in the entire Everton squad with 8, the most key passes, which is basically a pass that leads to a very good chance, if not a goal, with 21, the most passes into the penalty area with 17, the most crosses with 32, the most switches of play with 17. So the guy's able to ping it across, the pitch as well. The most shot creating actions with 37. That's also a fantastic stat. I mean, look at all those most that he has. Those are basically just showing that the guy has been a fantastic chance creator for the Evertonians. He's been able to create practically the most chances in the entire squad so far this season. The most players dribble past as well with 12. The most completed crosses into the penalty area with 9, and tied for the most goals with 3. Basically, Damari Gray has been the one that's been on everyone's lips. But if you really were to made me mention an unsung hero, it certainly has been Andros Townsend. But there you are, everybody. Our unsung hero is Andros Townsend, and our key player is Damari Gray. I feel like the key player should be Richarlison, but Richarlison hasn't played too much for there to be a lot of stats on him. But I am going to take a quick drink of the water, everybody. And again, feel free to throw in a super chat or a chat, just in the comments, just to ask me something on maybe any sort of stats or, tactical insights that you might have. And again, really does help support the channel, really does help David and I on our journey to the top of the Spurs game. But also as well, if you really want to stop me at any moment while I'm kind of motoring on here, while I'm kind of basically just talking nonstop, it really does also as well help me maybe, be able to connect with you if you have something on your mind that you want to talk about when it comes to this Everton game. But I am going to take a sip of water and just make sure that I'm not missing any more comments here just quickly. Um, Tyson Scott saying, Tottenham till I die. Definitely big yourself up, Tyson. Big yourself up. Uh, I'm honoring Asia is also talking to everybody, talking to Chris, seeing how's he's doing. Eddie Ryan, he says, who would you prefer, Sanchez or Dyer, or Lo Celso or Ali? Between Sanchez and Dyer, I think I would go for Sanchez. Between Lo Celso and Ali, that one's tough. I think it's still obvious. I think I'd still would go for Gio Lo Celso, no matter how much the guy's pissed me off recently. I still would go for Gio Lo Celso, Eddie Ryan. But big yourself up. Thank you for the comment. Um, Scott Hyman saying we got to agree with the press. Chris saying Nuno, I'm surprised you're not running for Newcastle jobs. Yeah, you should be, honestly, Chris. He'd probably keep them in the Premier League if you ask me. He probably would, especially he knows how to work with bad squads, which Newcastle certainly have. But as well. RJ Moon saying the Sun hat trick is happening. That's definitely a good shout there, RJ Moon. Definitely a good shout. Sebastian Warming saying 3-1 Tottenham. I really would like to see that, Sebastian. That's probably the most realistic kind of scoreline, and also one I think we would all be over the moon with. So big yourself up, Sebastian. Leon the Kid saying, I'd say 2-1. It's also kind of realistic when I do think about it as well, Leon. And Ben Kaufman saying, I believe we need to suffocate their midfield and stop their fullbacks getting up the pitch. I think we will be able to stop their fullbacks getting up high at the pitch because we have our own fullbacks, so we'll be countering them and kind of pinning them back, Ben. But we will need to suffocate that midfield, and we really struggled with that last time out against Vitesse. So I do see where you're coming from. And Ben Vard saying, what's your preferred back three tomorrow? We will get into that, Ben. But if you want me to answer that early, feel free to throw it in a super chat. But we will be able to answer that later for you, my friend. We will answer that for you later. But how do Everton attack? Again, everybody, this is kind of the stage where we want to kind of, hold our breath, just get through this part. We have to talk about maybe what the Toffees do well, if they do anything at all well at all. First little threat that we have here is Townsend cutting inside. With Townsend cutting inside again, he has the most shot creating actions. He has the most crosses into the whole pitch. He has also the most switches of play. He has the most players dribble pass. He's basically the unsung hero of this squad. This is basically a scenario that we've probably seen Andros Townsend do a million times this season, where he's been able to, beat his man on the ball, been able to cut inside past the fullback, and able to put a good ball inside into someone maybe on the back post or whatnot. I feel like, Andros Townsend he's kind of had an underrated season, if you ask me. I feel like he's had very much an underrated season. And he's also been very good at also taking cracks from distance. This is a bit of a simple animation, but it's not too unrealistic. It is just him kind of creating space, a bit of 1-2, kind of pushes Region off here, cuts inside, and then finds Alexander Iwobi, who likes to find himself in the box along with Damari Gray for maybe, something of a cross or maybe just a ball in, as well as Richarlison. The three players that we probably will be finding in the box lots of times will be Richarlison, Damari Gray, and Alexander Iwobi. But there you are, everybody. Hopefully, maybe this animation is maybe suitable for you guys. Hopefully, this is kind of the one that seems a bit realistic. So, one of the major threats that I will say for tomorrow is going to be Everton. Finding Andros Townsend to cut the ball inside and swing in a beautiful cross to maybe the back post or even the near post as well, or even just take a shot from distance. Seriously, the other one is going to be Richarlison creating his own chance. This is basically, just the fact that I do really rate Richarlison. He does have maybe his moments of kind of blundering it, but he also has his moments of kind of, also just being a fantastic footballer. And so that's where this one comes from here. Richarlison in this scenario is, finding, just a bit of space for himself in the middle of the 18 and then just kind of takes it past Romero and Dyer and then just basically has a fantastic shot on goal. I will say with Richarlison, his finishing ability is underrated in my opinion. I do feel like he is actually quite decent at finishing it in certain scenarios, as we maybe even saw when he played us last time out. So everybody, I would probably say Richarlison certainly could maybe give us a bit of pressure, certainly could cause us a bit of trouble. Tommy Blanchard would have had Townsend back at Spurs. Never rated him so much at Spurs, but his game has improved since then, and he'd have done better than much of what I've witnessed this season. I think that's just what happens sometimes, Tommy, is that players that leave Spurs, they all of a sudden look a lot better after they leave us. But also just speaks to the fact that I think when they maybe are put in a team that has a bit less pressure on them, not as much of a big fan base and everything, kind of riding them every single match, they can find a bit more form. He didn't do too spectacularly at Crystal Palace, I would say. Did decently, but didn't do too spectacularly. So, I would say probably that it's not too, crazy that maybe all of a sudden he's kind of having a bit of form. Would have got us the quadruple if we backed you. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Thomas. She's been saying we are shy. You'll beat us, no problem. Uh, there you go, Sheepspen. Also, feel free to subscribe as well. Feel free to drop a like. So maybe the next time that we play Sheep, you won't be able to miss it, my man. But thank you very much. Yeah, it seems like you guys are not in the best of form. Seems like you guys are not in the best of form. Norwich job is available tomorrow, is available now. That's interesting. I mean, considering they did just get the win, though, I'm quite surprised that Mr. Fokker or whatever his name is, has uh, been sacked. But maybe just with how horrible they've been this season, I'm not too surprised. Um, with a manager like Conte, any player in the world will be interested in coming to Tottenham as long as the money is right. There you go, Nuno. I completely agree, my man. Truth Sets Free with a super chat here. Big up Truth Sets Free. Thank you for joining us. Saying terrible tragedy Thursday night. Falmouth, Massachusetts. An amazing man shouldn't have died at 30. A hero. Justice for Bruce Enos. Lead story on Boston News. This man saved lives. Very sorry about that. Truth Sets Free. I'm very, very sorry about that. I'm not too, aware of Massachusetts news, and but there you go. True sets free. I'm very, very apologize. I do feel bad for that, especially since I do believe you live in that area. So that must be very local kind of news to you. And hopefully, the town can get through it. True sets free. Hopefully you can get through it. And my condolences, my man. My condolences. Thank you for letting me know. Thank you for letting me know. But we move on. Dyer's Conte's pitch as we speak. Thank you, James Fitzgerald. Thank you, James Fitzgerald. JC saying Townsend is ahead of a lot of the trash that we have at the moment. That's probably true, JC. That's probably true. That's definitely true. Or no, I don't think you are probably allowed to, Tom, see if to my degree. And also, we will give our own predicted lineups here later, my friend. We will give our own predicted lineups here. But that is, Richarlison creating his own chance. Hopefully, you enjoyed that. That is just him just showing a bit of brilliance there. Just being able to do something on his own, which I do think he's fully capable of. The next one is Damari Gray carrying it into the box. With Damari Gray, we spoke about his ball carrying abilities. We spoke about his progressive carries, his carries into the penalty area and whatnot. So this would be the version of it with Damari Gray. Here it is, everybody, with Damari Gray basically just being able to get wide. Alexander Iwobi and him, which is very fascinating. They kind of do a bit of overlapping with each other. They find, moments where they kind of switch in between, where sometimes, especially in defense, when they are in a defensive shape, it's almost like Alexander Iwobi actually drifts towards the middle and kind of does just basically just a lot of pressing on either side, basically just presses the whole pitch. And then Damari Gray will find himself out wide. You can also even see that in their own buildup sometimes, where Damari Gray will then kind of drift out wide and then be able to cut inside. And this is basically what it is him just maybe linking up with Alexander Iwobi here and then just carrying the ball, cutting it inside, doing a little bit of a 1-2 with Richarlison. Richarlison takes it here, and then he's able to slot it into the post. With Damari Gray, again, I would just say his ball carrying ability is spectacular. His ability to, take it past, his defender to create something out of nothing sometimes has been actually quite decent this season. I wouldn't say that he's been, a spectacular player. I think it's just Rafa Benitez getting the most out of him, as well as he's also been very confident. He's been given a lot of confidence by Rafa Benitez. So definitely something that we could take into consideration. Maybe a bit of that Damari Gray threat, especially with Alex Iwobi. Combining with him is certainly a possibility. But that is the other threat here, everybody. That is the other threat that I have taken a look at. I'm just going to get to some more comments here. True Sets Free, great visuals, great word, Jack. Thanks. No, big yourself up, honestly. And True Sets Free, hopefully you're keeping well, my man. That does sound like a real loss in your community. And also, we don't want to hear that. And we don't want to see that. So hopefully you're keeping well. Yeah, hopefully you're keeping well. It's very sad news from what I can tell by your comments. I can tell it's very sad news. So big yourself up. Come on, you Spurs. Love you guys. Thanks for all you do. No problem, True Sets Free. No problem, my man. Norwich defeated Brentford twice last season. There you go. Maybe Daniel Farker knows a little bit about the guy. Maybe he knows a little bit about the guy. There you are, though. How do you keep your beard so neat? I think you're talking to Nuno, probably not me. I think you're talking to Nuno. My beard is nowhere near as big as Nuno, so you're probably just asking him. Dyer is Conte's pitch as speak, as we got to that one earlier. Scott Hyman saying two to Kane, one to Son. That would be fantastic, Scott Hyman. That would be absolutely fantastic. I really would love to see that. 150 in the building and 46 lights, as the famous Paro says. Kindly smash a like, fam. Come on, you Harris Army. Come on, you Flat Cap Army. And Sean Clark saying, Jack, who do you think would have turned Conte off the most so far and would look to get them out in January, and why? I certainly feel like Delhi's probably already fucked him off, probably, Sean. I feel like Delhi's just always seems to turn managers off. If I saw Delhi play tomorrow, I'd be quite surprised. Um, Ben Davies certainly didn't do himself a lot of justice, but he didn't play too poorly either. Gio Lo Celso, I didn't think did too well either. He might have, maybe wrapped Conte off the wrong way too. Eric Dyer also played pretty poorly. There are a lot of players that rubbed him off probably the wrong way, I would say, Sean, but I can't make a certain decision on that. I really can't. So, maybe it's just, whichever players, he kills first is really what you're probably asking, but I can't give you a solid answer on that yet. But like Shamu said, everybody, please hit that like, please hit that subscribe, please hit that notification bell to never miss another Stats with Jack like this one. And if you feel free to stop me at any moment in terms of this show, and if you want to get your points across to us, and as well as even just support the channel, feel free to throw in a super chat as well. It really does go a long way. It really does help us, but really would appreciate it. And also, though, we do understand not everybody is able to, and not everybody even can. At the moment, it is the weekend. We're trying to save a bit of money, but it does help out the channel a lot. But just like Shamu said, at least a like would really help, this channel grow. Kuva99 saying, Jack, we're 21 nil down on your simulation so far. I hope it doesn't go this badly tomorrow. Yeah, Kuva, it's very, it's not, probably don't like to see this happen over and over on repeat. So maybe I'll just zoom past it here just so we don't see it happen over and over again. But I also, trying to run it all at once. But pick up, Kuva. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it, my man. But how do Everton defend is what we're going to move on to next. But let me get, just to a few more comments so I'm not missing them here. But everybody, honestly, Kuva is the comedian, the Harris Army. Kuva said, I focus on what I have to focus on. It's what I can control. I can impact. I think he's talking about his beer. Big up, Nuno. I think Doherty will give a chance under Conte because the system he uses, maybe. And maybe we might see Conte be the Doherty whisperer. Maybe he might be the Doherty whisperer. Who knows, my man? Sean Clark saying, thanks, Jack. I agree. Probably too early. Feels like the last few games are going to be auditions for the team. It is. That's a great word for it. It is kind of like auditions. And some people failed their first audition, Sean. But like a lot of players, they get multiple auditions, though. They get multiple chances, Sean. So, maybe they'll be able to maybe win them back over again. But yeah, that's exactly what it is. They are just, auditioning for Conte. And that is a hard one to audition for, my man. There's a hard one to audition for. Thanks, Shamu. Absolutely grief stricken. You guys are saving me. My wife thanks you. I'm very sorry, Truth Sets Free. It seems like a real loss in the community, and I'll say that again. And also, I know, and the local Massachusetts area, you guys are very connected with each other. So it just seems like, must have been a real loss. Must have been a real loss, my man. But Conte also says will win us a major trophy by 2024. That'd be brilliant. That'd be absolutely brilliant, True Sets Free. I'd love to see that happen. I think super chat like Nuno hits that blunt. There you go, True Sets Free. There you go. Smoke a bit of Nuno. That's what you might say. Smoke a bit of Nuno. But let's move on to how do Everton defend here? Just quickly. They kind of line up in a bit of a 4-4-2 shape. What must be said about the 4-4-2 is it's always been a very successful kind of way to defend. They do sometimes like a 4-4-1-1 as well in the way that defend. What I've often seen from watching a bit of the games back, it seems like when they aren't in their defensive shape, Damari Gray will actually shift out wide because I don't think he is hard of a worker in the middle of the park as Alexander Iwobi is. So Alex Iwobi will move into the center, and basically by the squiggly lines, you can tell that he's basically just asked to basically just press everybody and, find ways to, just make trouble for both of the center defensive mids, both holding midfielders there. This is the 3-4-3 shape if we went for the 3-4-3. And then they basically, with that 4-4-2, the 4-4-2, what makes it so effective is that you can really clog up the middle, force teams out wide, and then you can still have a lot of support out wide against certain teams. You can find ways to still pressure them in those out wide scenarios. So we saw that, I think, with Hungary in the Euros, where Hungary did a very solid base 4-4-2, but they gave a lot of teams trouble with it because if it's a very organized 4-4-2 and it's very hard working 4-4-2, it makes it really hard because you basically can clog up the whole middle. You make it very difficult for teams to pass through you in the middle. But then even if they work it out wide, they don't have a lot of time on the ball there as well. well. So the 4-4-2 has always been, historically, I think a very, kind of a pragmatic but very kind of successful, formation, kind of stifling teams. It really has been. And as well, though, I would say you can see by sometimes a bit of those lines, from Coleman and Townsend, they're able to also, if with our fullbacks that will be pressing high, they'll be able to kind of put Coleman and Townsend in, the right positions and uh, basically make it very life difficult for for players like Reggie. And then as well, you could see that with Emerson. They would also maybe make life difficult for him there. And then even as well, even if we put three guys in the middle there, you find a Wobie probably kind of defending the center there, Fabian Delph and Allen there, and then as well as two center backs. So it could be very difficult for us to penetrate the middle. But then again, it's not like Everton have been actually the best defensive team this season. So, I don't want to go too much into it, but how can Tottenham win this game, everybody? How can they win it? And this is my favorite part, as everybody's favorite part here, saying, Nuno, wow, thanks for those comments. Pick up Nuno. Don't hear any Irish accent from you. Yep, sorry, Boya, this is one where I do run it on myself. Am of maybe Irish descent mostly, but at the same time, it is kind of they're Irish everywhere. They're Irish everywhere, Boya. Have a big yourself up. Thomas Thacker saying, Nuno, how do you set up your team to get a shot on target? Yeah, I don't think he knows. But Nuno, maybe like everybody's saying, hopefully you're enjoying this stats with Jack. Hopefully you're enjoying these tactics because Nuno, you certainly need to learn from a little bit of this. You certainly need to learn from this. And also big yourself up, True Sets Free. Thank you for the super chat. Now that we're getting on to how Spurs will play, feel free again, everybody, to hit that like, hit that subscribe, and as well as hit that notification bell if you have been enjoying the show so far. And as well, if you want to maybe ask me, how you think Spurs should set up for this match, feel free to throw it in a super chat as well. But we will move on to this one. And we will see, how maybe Spurs might set up. First, I have two different formations for how maybe Spurs might be going about it tonight. The first one is my predicted 3-4-3. If we were to run the 3-4-3, this is what I could see it looking like. I am going to predict Sanchez is going to come in for Ben Davies and play on the right side center back position. Romero in that libero role in the center. Eric Dyer playing the left center back position, which maybe he could do well. I will say he's one of the better, left-sided center backs in our whole squad, which is not saying very much. Region, out wide, Skippy and Højbjerg holding it down. As much as we probably don't want to be seeing that, I think they're going to go with consistency with this one. I think Antonio Conte is going to go with a bit of consistency. Emerson out wide, Lucas, Kane, and Sonny up top in that 3-4-3, in that 3-4-2-1. But there you go, everybody. That is maybe one of the predictive formations. The other one could be this one, which is basically a 3-4-1-2. This is the one I think we should run personally. And so that's why in my animations, that's what I'm going to go for, because I do feel like that's what we should be running for a match like this. Because I feel like what happened against Vitesse is that we did not have enough bodies in the midfield, and we didn't have maybe someone that could link the midfield and the attack. As much as Lucas is an absolute baller at times, he can't really find ways to connect the midfield and the attack very well, in my opinion. So that's how I feel like we should do it. We should put maybe Tanguy in the midfield, or even a Gio Lo Celso or something like that. Or you could even put Lucas there, like we saw under Jose. Put him in the number 10 position, and then you'll find ways for him to kind of connect the midfield and the attack. I feel like that's the best way to go about it. It's just felt like it against the Vitesse match. Højbjerg and Skippy, they got bypassed way too easily. It seems like they're also not in the best of form at the moment, Højbjerg and Skip together. So I feel like you put Tanguy in there, take a bit of the workload away from Højbjerg, who's responsible for getting forward as well as defending alongside Skip, which sometimes might be a bit too much asked of him, especially in certain matches. So you put in Tanguy there to take a bit of that creative workload away from him, and then Sonny and Kane up top. This is my preferred formation, but the other one could be a 3-4-3, which would look something like this. The only change really being is that you would put Lucas instead of Tanguy, but you could also put Tanguy where like he is right now, right there. So that is maybe a good way to look at it. It is two plausible formations for tomorrow. Our key player, everybody, is going to be Sonny, with the most shots in our entire squad with 24, the most goals with 4, the most key passes, which is basically a pass that leads to good chance created, or a pass to a goal, basically is another way of looking at it as well, with 17. Tie for the most passes into the penalty area with 12. Most shot creating actions, which is basically just chances created, with 29. Most carries into the penalty area with 9. Most progressive passes received, which is a pass of 10 yards or more, with 68. Most touches in the attacking penalty area with 43. And the second most switches of play with 13. I actually like that he has the second most switches to play. I mean, Sonny, I think he's going to continue to be the key player for every single match, honestly, probably throughout the seasons. We might get a bit bored of him, honestly, when you think about that in that regard. But we can't take Sonny for granted. We really can't. The guy is Mr. Reliable. He's Mr. Tottenham. He bleeds blue and white. We absolutely love you, Sonny. Our unsung hero. And before I kind of break it down here, I am going to go through a bit of the comments here. But my unsung hero for this time, we kind of like to do different unsung heroes for every match. It is going to be Emerson Royale for this one. But the True Sets Free saying, Thomas, just humbled to be part of such a great group of people. Truly humbled. The True Sets Free, I'll tell you, this is a real family. This channel is a real family. So big yourself up, my man. And I know you can always find, a friend here, as well as David and I. Feel free to reach out, on email or something like that. True Sets Free, if you need someone to talk to. David and I's email are in the description down below. And then we can maybe talk to you through WhatsApp or something like that. But hopefully, you always have someone here to speak to. You always have someone else to maybe cheer yourself up. Rico saying, if Conte wants to sell Sonny, Kane, or Romero in order to win trophies, would you guys accept? I don't think, there's certain players that he needs to sell first before he does that, Rico. There's certain players he needs to sell first. Nuno Espirito Santo saying, Conte is our trainer. If Tanguy is lazy, he will torture him more than Jose. Definitely. And also everybody bigging up True Sets Free. Next week, I'll load my boys with much bigger super chats. Don't True Sets Free. You don't need to, my man. You don't need to. And also appreciate all the support as well as you tuning in to every single show, my man. Really do appreciate it. Nuno Espirito Santos saying Ben Davies gives more control and Doherty is very effective on the right wing. Disagree, Nuno. I disagree, and I don't need to get much into it. Ben Davies, I would say just quickly, Ben Davies, the word useless is more useful than Ben Davies. That's all I would say. And then Doherty, I sometimes don't even know what Matt Doherty is. So that would be my belief. Lucas is our best player. That seems to be a common belief at the moment. Shrikar Reddy seems to be a common belief. And the Lucas Morris Sexual Club, the Morris Sexual Club, is certainly alive and well at the moment. My exact lineup, but Skip will be dropped for Winks. Let me know, Tom, see why. And I don't really see why Winks will be included in this one, unless I'm missing something there. What type of player / positions will Conte prioritize in the January window? Bearing in mind most top targets are unlikely to be available. I think he's going to prioritize a backup striker or at least some other player in the forward line, King Hoddle. And then as well, I think he is going to find a tempo setter / midfielder, someone that can play, there's a Metsala role that he's going for in that kind of 3-5-2 system. And then I'm starting to believe in, I can't believe the Regista role as well, which is basically what Brozovic played. Someone that can be kind of a holding midfielder that kind of dictates. That's where probably the tempo setter kind of plays in his system. Someone like a Brozovic, and maybe he'll go for Brozovic since I think Brozovic is not keen on signing a new contract and will also be, someone that really has enjoyed a good spell under Conte. So probably those are the kind of the two positions: backup striker and then a Regista kind of center defensive mid, kind of holding midfielder role, King Hoddle. But that's a great question, my man. That is a great question. Ben Davies is world class. Yeah, I mean, James Fitzgerald, maybe just a alias account of Alex Davies at the moment. But everyone's entitled to your opinion. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. Scott Heinem saying, big up, Jack. Keep it live. Yeah, there we go. Keep it up. Keep it up, Scott, though, yourself, honestly. Thank you for joining us as well, though. Thank you for joining us. Conte likes to push center backs forward, too. He does. You need to have ball-carrying center backs, Tom C., in the Conte system. Center backs that are very, very confident on the ball, my man. Very much that is the case. But thank you, everybody, for all the support. Thank you, everybody, for all the comments so far. Faz Ratbart saying, I like the 3-5-2 formation with Lucas behind Kane and Son. That's where I think maybe we concede, kind of Faz is instead of, people are very divided on Tanguy for good reason. But we need to find someone that can, clog up the midfield to not make it so easy to bypass Højbjerg and Skippy, and then maybe put, someone that can be able to also go forward as well and be able to play in Lucas and play in Kane and Son, and also make runs, through the channels, through the lanes off of Kane and Son. Lucas, to a degree, might be one of the best versions of that instead of Tanguy. Honestly, I could see both playing absolutely spectacular in that role. It's just with the 3-4-3, with the midfielders that we have at the moment, it just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work for me, if you ask me. I think it's just Højbjerg and Skip. It's great if they've been this season in Conte's new system, under his kind of regime, under his kind of style and philosophy. I just don't think it works. I really don't. So I think we should switch to the 3-5-2 or kind of a 3-4-1-2 is maybe a way to also put it, Faz. That's a great comment, though. And thank you for the super chat as well, Faz. Everybody, please, if you'd like me to stop, from basically just rambling on, feel free to throw in a super chat, just like True Sets Free has, just like Faz Radfar has. And also, again, hit that red subscribe button down below and hit that notification bell to never miss another Stats with Jack. Uh, just making sure I'm not missing anyone. The only reason I could see us starting Winks is because I played after he came off the bench Thursday. I don't really know what he did too well, Verd. Like, to be honest, I really don't. Like, he didn't put too much of a foot wrong. Same time, I don't think he played too great at the same time either. There was a moment even when he kind of, made a good block, from across, and then he abandoned the wing and let them have a free throw in. There's a moment when he drove the ball up 30 yards just to give a 6-yard pass to someone that he could have just passed to right away. He decided to dribble all the way towards the guy, and then maybe he has just near depth vision or like like nearsightedness or something where he couldn't even see the guy that was just waiting for the ball in the wing. So I would just say, I don't think he was that remarkable. In the last match, maybe the bias is there on my side, but I don't really think he was that remarkable, and hopefully Conte doesn't play him. Really, hopefully he doesn't. But everybody gets maybe a free pass under Conte. He's just giving them all auditions, like they said before. But I really don't think he was that spectacular, if you ask me. True Sets Free said Skip played 100% each time. Respect that, man. Yeah, he's a fantastic one. He's fantastic, Skip. I think he'll continue to grow. He'll continue to be better. He'll continue to find new elements of his game. But honestly, he's been an unsung hero probably the entire season, if you ask me. Do you think Conte will make Emerson a right center back if we could get Doherty firing as a right wing back? No, Ben. As much as maybe that's a good idea, I don't think that's going to be happening. I think Emerson is going to continue as a right wing back. He basically did that under Batiste as well. He is good at kind of getting up and down the pitch, maybe a bit more than Doherty is. I think he also combines, better with certain forwards as well, and he's a bit more composed on the ball than Doherty. And as well as I think he's not really. It's just not really a suited position for him. If we wanted, someone who's kind of a right back to play right center back, you probably would go with Tanganga, if you ask me. But it's not a bad shout, actually, Ben. And I feel like, Doherty, I just feel like he's going to be a backup right wing back this season, if you ask me, and maybe even just be sold after this and, kind of take the loss or, kind of take the hit on it. Just making sure I'm not missing anything here. James Watson saying, I actually thought Winks played well. He moved the ball forward for the first time in 3 years. Not great by any means, but it was incredible for a standard. Yeah, James, I think that's where the problem sometimes lies with Winks is that when we see him kind of do the bare minimum, sometimes as a midfielder, we think that he has a great match. And James said, maybe, I'm way too biased towards him. But, I just feel like, the guy he's just a bit atrocious, when it comes to his ability to, be a defensive midfielder, because the end of the day, he comes on as a defensive midfielder and he doesn't know how to make tackles, doesn't know how to be a defensive force. He practically bounces off people and whatnot. He looks like an absolute shrimp. I hate to say it. And then as well, he just, when he carries the ball forward, he's just so timid and scared when he carries it forward as well. Like, again, I don't know why he carried it 30 yards just to pass it. It's like he carried it 30 yards forward to put a sideways pass, if you know what I mean, James. So it's sometimes the guy he rubs me off the wrong way. He really does. But that's definitely how I feel about it. And maybe I could be wrong, to be honest, but really do appreciate that. True Sets Free saying, I think Jack Schmoo and Irish Hotspur are the best, along with the We Are Tottenham TV boys. Big ups. Thank you, True Sets Free. Really do appreciate that, man. Paxton Road, big yourselves up, Paxton Road. Everybody, please head on over to Paxton Road, one of my favorite channels out there, with Sid, Mike, the Hotspur Hutzler, Shane or Sam, who's an absolute genius, almost like a wise guru, I would say, of Spurs. The guy is so intelligent when it comes to his Spurs opinions as well as his questions. And then Darius, the guy who everybody probably knows by now, I absolutely worship. So big up, Paxton Road. Thank you, True Sets Free as well. Really appreciate it, my man. But let's move on here. I got a little bit distracted there, but the unsung hero for tonight is going to be Emerson. He's only played 7 matches. He only played 7 matches, people. There are people who played 10, 8, 9 full 90s. Guys actually played 6.5 90s when you think about it as well. And he has the most, and bear that in mind every time I read one of these stats, he has 7 matches played or 6.5 full 90s played. Most tackles with 32. He's already surpassed everybody in tackles. Second most dribblers tackled with 10. Second most successful pressures basically pressure that leads to a tackle or pressure that leads to something good happening for the squad with 43. Second most tackles and interceptions combined with 48. Second most fouls drawn, which is that beautiful Brazilian shithousery with 15, and La Liga shithousery with 15. Third most crosses with 13. Third most ball recoveries with 69. And a ball recovery is basically any loose ball on the pitch that basically is up for anyone to grab. He is the one already with third most in the entire squad. And again, let me emphasize again, the guy's only played 7 matches. Only played 7 matches, and he already is basically leading our squad in a ton of these metrics. Third most passes completed while under pressure, which is basically someone while, someone's all over you, pulling at you, pulling your kit, and whatnot, pulling on your shorts and everything. He's still able to complete that many passes so far this season with 58, and the third most crosses with 13. I think Emerson has been unbelievable so far this season. I think he's still quite raw, but at the same time, like some of the slander that I feel like I've seen towards him, I think is unfair. I think he's getting stuck in all across the pitch. I think that's maybe been his best attribute so far this season is him getting stuck in. I think he needs to improve his ability in the final thirds a little bit more. I think we'll probably find that. But again, in terms of his defensive output, I think he's been unbelievable. I really do. I thought he handled actually Wilfred Zaha quite well. I think he's handled other players quite well so far this season. Matty Target as well, who kept trying to bomb down his wing, was getting shot down constantly. I mean, I think he's been pretty decent this season. I really do. Even Marcus Rashford, I think, kind of did struggle against him as well, for the most part. And I don't think it was even his fault for the goal when I think about it as well. I think he's been brilliant this season. I think he'll become a real player for this team. I really do. So he is my unsung hero. But let me know what you think of Emerson as the unsung hero for this, guys. Maybe a bit of an outside shout. I try to do a different unsung hero every single time. So, I kind of am struggling sometimes to find some. But I did go for Emerson this time just because he was most of our man of the match last time out against Vitesse. So I think it's definitely an interesting one to go for. Stats for Emerson are amazing. Thanks for sharing. He will thrive under the Conte'S system. Thank you, Faz. And honestly, as well, there's another stats, when it comes to it, he's actually had more tackles, more interceptions, more dribblers tackled, more blocks, basically more clearances as well than Tomiyasu. A lot of people have praised Tomiyasu this season. I think that's where I kind of, maybe not taken the the Emerson slander too well is just because, on the other hand, people seem to be praising Tomiyasu, which I think he's been doing fantastic, but his job is to protect Ben White. It's literally his job to just sit there and almost form a back three to defend Ben White and his kind of aerial deficiencies. Whereas Emerson's been responsible for getting up and down the pitch as well as getting stuck in. And he's already still beating Tomiyasu in almost every metric there is for defensive, output. So I think that says a lot about Emerson. I really do think the guy's been absolutely insane. I really do think he's getting insane. But Stevie B is a fraud, another one that's robbing a wage of us every week. I do agree, Sean. I really do agree on that one. I really do. Jack, what one average player do you see becoming a totally new and improved player under Conte? There's going to be at least one average player that will become brilliant. Sanchez, but that'd be a good shout. He's been quite average, been very shaky. I could see him becoming absolutely brilliant under Conte. I guess, is Tanguy average? Maybe not, just because, we see the potential and we see the ability and we see the talent, but then he'll have average performances. Maybe we'll see Tanguy, perform in that Metzala role, him be able to become, to a degree, maybe Conte's Nico Barella. If he were to become anywhere close to, Antonio Conte's Nico Barella, that would be honestly unbelievable, because I do really rate Barella as one of the best midfielders in the world, in my belief. So if he were to do that, that would be spectacular. Eric Dyer, I don't see him improving Eric Dyer too much. Region, is already, I think, a good player. Bergwijn, I think, is already, like John said, kind of robbing a wage. So those would be my two answers. Maybe Tanguy, maybe, is he average? Maybe not. But I would say Sanchez is the big one. Sanchez is the big one. But hopefully that's a good enough answer for you, Sean. Maybe I'm missing one out. But Mike the Hotspur Hustler saying, sorry, Jack, thought I was commenting from my personal account. Loving this stream. Everson is defo our unsung hero. Big up, Mike, and it's good to see you, my man. Also, hopefully you're keeping well. I honestly love watching you guys on Paxton Road. You guys are absolutely brilliant, and I really do enjoy watching you guys whenever I can. Faz Radfar saying, stats for Emerson are amazing. Thanks for sharing. He will thrive. Yep. True Sets Free. Also, big up, Faz. Really appreciate that. I just realized I read that before. True Sets Free saying, this channel deserves to be way bigger. It's the best. Spread the word. I will. Big yourself up. 5 true sets free. I really do appreciate that. I can see Emerson becoming a highly influential player in a Don Antonio. Completely agree, King Hoddle. Completely agree. I wonder if Hill could become a left wing back for cover of Region. He's going to have to adapt. Probably so, Lewis, but I see him playing more of actually kind of that number 10 role. I see him like if we were to do a 3-4-1-2, maybe he would play behind, Harry Kane and Son. That's what I could see him doing. Or even as well, he could play if we were to do the 3-4-3, he could play where Lucas is playing. He could play where Lucas is playing on the right when you think about it as well, but it's not a bad shout, Lewis. It's not a bad shout. Francesca Lobianco. Good evening from Italy. Big yourself up, Francesca. Big yourself up. Thank you for joining us as well. Hopefully you're keeping well. Thompson saying Conte doesn't play younger players, and Winks is in the past trying to get back into the team lot. We will be really sucking up to Conte. Also, when he came on, he seemed to look good going forward. Tom said just maybe gotta disagree without him being good going forward. I really think he was quite average, if not, quite bland and boring going forward. But also I would say, Winksy does seem to, win over managers in the beginning, and then he kind of, falls out of favor eventually later. So you're probably right on that. Might use Tanganga against Liverpool and Man City for speed. Definitely like that, Neela. That's a fantastic shout. He'll get the most dribbles. I'm not sure who he's talking about, but big yourself up, Alejandro Perez. Just making sure I'm not missing anything. The wingbacks will be our biggest weapon this season under Conte. I completely agree, Mike. Absolutely well said. Does anyone know, Lewis? This is a great show. Does anyone remember how shit Rudiger was before Conte came in? He was a shambles. Now I believe he's the best defender in the league. Sanchez has all the natural attributes like he did. Probably right, Lewis, to 2 degree, especially because I will say Rudiger has even he's become even almost like a Conte mentality on the pitch. Like the guy's an absolute animal. Like he really is. I really love, Rudiger for his attitude. He's transformed into an unbelievable player, I will say. He really has. And maybe that is all credit to Conte when I think about it. Maybe he is. But I think under Thomas Tuchel, he's also, taken a life of his own. So maybe it's just 2 different players, coming into their own, maybe under, or maybe it's just, Rudiger just coming into his own now in kind of latter stages of his career. Sean Clark saying, good call on Sanchez, Jack. Not that he's average, but I think Son is going to discover a new level under Conte personally. Maybe I just misread the question, Sean. So I kind of went for players that I probably view as average that maybe you were speaking of that could improve. But, I have such an inflated view of a lot of our players. That's why, not a lot of them are maybe that average, in my opinion. And, the ones that I do think are average, I probably don't see Conte improving. So the one that would be one would probably be Sanchez. But big up, Sean. I think definitely Sonny will be improving tremendously under him as well. Really do think so. But let's move on, everybody, to how do Tottenham attack for this one. This is how I kind of see us, being able to maybe, if we were to run the 3-4-3, everybody, this is how I could see us maybe exploiting the spaces. Again, this is kind of the shape that, Everton do find themselves in. They kind of run a 4-4-2, but it really more is like a 4-4-1-1. Most of the time when they are in a deep defensive shape. Everton, it must be said, I actually anticipate us having a lot of the ball because we saw against West Ham, even they really sat deep and they really struggle to get out of their own half. But when they do get out in their own half, they break well and they break quickly. So this is kind of why I probably would go for this sort of shape and how they maybe set up defensively as well. I would probably say, it's kind of interesting that they sit so deep because they even do it at home. West Ham again was a team that sat deep against us in their own stadium, and somehow Everton sat even deeper in their own stadium against West Ham, which is a team that likes to sit deep. So that must be said as well. I would probably argue that Wolves absolutely dominated them and made them also sit deep. So I really do anticipate Everton sitting quite deep against us and maybe, forcing us to make a mistake and then they can break on us. What will be maybe the areas where we can maybe find a bit of freedom is if Townsend and Coleman don't put too much pressure on Region, he can slip it into Kane, who will probably drift left, and Sonny will then be able to kind of go through the middle there. I think Kane will continue to kind of drift wide. He seems to be doing that this season and kind of drifts to either side in order to kind of pin a ball in behind and slip people in through. You could see Højbjerg finding Lucas. Lucas always drifts inside. He always likes to drift into the middle to find, pockets of space and be able to do damage there. And so those would be the 2 places I could see us causing them a bit of damage. This is the other situation where if we did put Tanguy in the middle, if we kind of ran more of a 3-4-1-2, you kind of just see where you just find Tanguy sitting in behind Delph and Allen. If we're able to slip balls into them, he can basically just wreak havoc. He can either spread it wide, he can be able to find Harry Kane or Sonny, in between the lines. He can maybe even ping it, to the wing backs. He can combine with Højbjerg. You could also put Lucas there, and he would be more or less the same thing. And basically, the reason I've kind of gone for this is because Raul Jimenez more or less played this role when he was going against them at Everton. They were finding ways to kind of sit above the center backs and then basically pick up pockets of space in behind, Allen. And so that's how you could probably go about it. And I think Tanguy would probably be brilliant in that regard, but maybe you could go for Lucas instead. Maybe you could go for Lucas instead there. But basically, those are the two positions. So 3-4-3, these are the areas that I see exploiting, excuse me. If we went for a 3-4-1-2, this is what I would see. Maybe us exploiting. This one's a bit more chaotic, and that's just because we're relying on one player in there to wreak a lot of havoc. But it is an extra body in the midfield, which is why I would go for this one instead. Now I'm going to get to a few more comments again before we break down a bit of the animations on Spurs, everybody. Personally, I thought Romero would be best in the middle of the three. Atalanta Sanchez used to play in a three and look great. There you go. Actually, I would say, Lewis, you're absolutely right. And at least in the case of Romero played that libero role in the middle of Atalanta, and he kind of would be able to go forward, kind of be able to play a pass on the floor to get the team going forward, to get the team start an attack, be very aggressive. He was asked to be very aggressive by Gasperini, Lewis. That was basically his instruction. So that's where that aggressive nature kind of comes from. So, Lewis, I think you're completely right. And Sanchez, I think, would be a lot better in a back three. I really do think he would be. John Fitzpatrick says we should turn Everton over. They have 3 or 4 players missing. We should smash them if we show up. I absolutely agree, John. Big yourself up. Whatever, put Dyer as a center defensive mid like in the past. I don't think so, Thompson. I think his position, unfortunately, is probably that center back. Won 7.5K last week, John. Maybe the name poker is my game, John. Congratulations, my man. Absolutely, congratulations. Really clearly you got the Texas Hold'em hand. You got the Texas Hold'em hand. So big yourself up, John. True Sets Free saying Conte starts the Juventus run in 2011 and 3 games in a row now. And then there were 9 in a row. Comes to Chelsea when they were 10th in the league and won the Premier League title for them. Or won the Premier League title for them. True Sets Free, completely right. Juve, Inter Milan, Chelsea, he's all started 3 games in a row with 3 wins off the bounce. I mean, the guy's an absolute monster. And if he were to ruin that streak with us, I'd be very, very sad. I'd be very, very sad. And honestly, I think it would be quite disappointing. True Sets Free with a super chat, just maybe waiting for that comment from him. And he says, Nuno, dare I say, he's underrated. When you look at his CV, he was a great player too. Conte was an absolutely brilliant player. He was a brilliant player. He's an absolute shithouse as well, which is all what we want. That's absolutely what we want as well. John Clark saying, Jack, one more, mate. If Reggie gets injured, do we think Davies is good enough to fill that role, considering Sess is out right now? Wingbacks will be what makes us successful this season. Sean Clark, I would direct you towards the man that has enlightened me on this subject, which is the backup left back, which is absolutely needed. And maybe I forgot about this. I think the backup left back is so crucial, and it's Dark Sun-G that has enlightened me on that. Dark Sun-G has said, with Ben Davies, I think he's useless as a left back. I think he's pretty much useless as a left-sided center back and a back three as well. The guy's just useless in general. So I wouldn't like him playing a left-sided wing back. It seems like Sessegnon is so injured these days. I'm starting to question whether he even exists. He seems to be on the operating table so much these days. I really don't know what the guy, really does anymore, apart from stealing wages on being injured so much. Of course, he has a lot of time left, but really think about it. I mean, the guy is just injured so much these days. I really don't get it anymore. I really am starting to question whether Ryan Sessegnon even exists anymore. So I would get a backup left back, and I would probably replace Ben Davies for that backup left back, even maybe Sessegnon, and just, say bye to Sessegnon, because the guy, again, is just injured way too much, if you ask me. So I think the backup left back is absolutely crucial, and I don't want Ben Davies being able to fill in that role because I don't think he can do it, Sean. So that's my answer to you. But big yourself up. Isn't Harry Kane do his annual ankle injury shortly? Probably so, but he maybe has tougher ankles than maybe before. Romero would commit less fouls playing in the center of a back three. Probably true, Mike. Probably true. But he's also very, he's expected to be very aggressive in that back three, so he might commit a lot of fouls at the same time. Jack is spot on. Thank you very much. True Sets Free. Do you think Stevie B can play as a wingback? Gina, Yes, but my problem with that is that we bought him as a left winger and we bought him as the third goal scorer. We bought him as someone to help out with the goals with Harry Kane and Sonny, and he just isn't doing that at all. So we paid all that money for him to do that, and he isn't doing that. So why on earth would we then convert him to a left wing back or a right wing back? Excuse me. I just think that's infuriating if you ask me. I think that's just, kind of just cutting ties with, what we actually bought him to do, and he's not doing what we bought him to do. So I would cut our losses, bring in Cody Gakbar from PSV Eindhoven, and then just bring in someone who can actually score goals, in my opinion, and someone who I think could also play as a backup striker. That's my problem with Stevie B. He seems to be very, doesn't really play the right wing very well, can't really play striker, can't really play number 10 in the middle probably very well, and inconsistent as a left winger, which is apparently his preferred position. I just think the guy's kind of hopeless at this rate. And if we were to then convert him to a wing back, like, just feel like, we're just giving the guy too many chances. And, I think it would just be a huge, huge loss. And I even sometimes question, the work rate, I think is not even as good as sometimes people say it is. So I just think, we don't really do it. I just don't think we do it. And that's just me, though. Maybe that's being really harsh, though, but that's just me. Probably not, John. Probably not. I'd like to think so. Jack, do you think about what do you think about us being linked to McKennie? Does he improve us? I think he does improve us, John. He's an all action midfielder, very much a box to box midfielder. He can kind of play a variety of positions as well. He can play the center defensive mid as kind of a destroyer like Skippy does. He can play also a center mid and kind of do that box to box role, but probably a bit better than Højbjerg. I wouldn't say his passing range is as good as Højbjerg's, but he's also just a bit more athletic and kind of can get up and down a bit quicker. But also as well, I mean, even at Schalke at one point, he was even playing center back, if I'm not mistaken. So the guy can really play a variety of positions. He gets stuck in. He's also just an absolute workhorse at times as well. And I'm actually quite shocked that Juve have given up on him. I think maybe it just had to do with some attitude problems, COVID and whatnot, and things like that. So I guess they're just giving up on him. So may as well take a chance on him. But I would say maybe we have had trouble with buying players who seem to have attitude problems. It seems like McKennie might be one of those players, but I'd be willing to take a risk on him. I think he'd be absolutely brilliant to bring in, especially get him on a cut price. And I think he would be more or less a version of Kessie, but at the same time, I probably prefer Frank Kessié over Weston McKennie. I definitely would prefer Kessié over McKennie, but I would definitely take both. I mean, I'm not going to be spoiled. I definitely would take both, John. Really would love to have both. How about dropping Kane and Skips? So front three of Stevie B, Son, and Lucas. Then Tanguy, Højbjerg, and Serge, Emerson, back three, Rodon, Romero, Tanganga. I would not drop Kane too soon, Lee Taylor. I would not drop him too soon. I just think, with Conte, we need to see what he can get through to Kane, because he was able to revitalize Kane's career. He was able to, or revitalize Lukaku's career. He turned Lukaku from that Man United Lukaku into the Lukaku that we know today. Maybe we can see him do that with Harry Kane's season. That's what I'm going to hold hope for me, Lee Taylor. But that's not a bad shout. Not a bad shout. You played well for Fiorentina today. There you are. There are better players than McKennie out there. I kind of agree with that, actually, Adrian. That's my belief. McKennie broke COVID protocols, so his reputation has been hurt. Yep, I think that's exactly what it is. But let's move on, everybody, to Sonny beating his man. Sonny, this is basically animation where Sonny basically more or less to kind of the goal that he scored, against Vitesse / the goal that he also kind of almost scored where he hit it off the post. Basically, this is basically just a bit of build-up play with, again, I would go for Tanguy in the middle or Lucas in the middle here, kind of just dictating the play. And Sonny basically just spins his man in and out and finds a way to basically put the ball in the far post here. It's basically just him kind of maybe pretending to maybe swing it across to Kane. He has the second most switches to play, Sonny, and then he can be able to probably turn his man inside out and put a ball into the far post there. Not too complicated, but also something we have seen Sonny do time and time again for Spurs here, and I don't think it's too unrealistic. But we are going to move on to Reggie passes into the box. With Reggie, he loves to put a ball on the floor inside the box. He really loves to be able to find players that without maybe looping the ball into the air, without putting the ball into the air. He likes to actually play it on the floor and be able to find players there, kind of similar to that Newcastle goal that he gave Tanguy. So that's what I'm actually going for with this one. It's going to be basically him doing that kind of that Tanguy goal. It's Højbjerg, switching the play over to Region, which we see Højbjerg do all the time. He loves to try to ping it across to Region, and then he basically just passes the ball inside on the top of the 18 to someone like Tanguy. From there, Tanguy is able to either find a pass or also just, bangs it into the top post like he did against Newcastle. Again, it's a goal that we've seen before against teams. It's a goal that, I think is quite likely to happen if especially Tanguy were to play in that number 10 role for us in a 3-4-1-2. Just going to play it one more time here. It is Tanguy basically finding the back of the net here from a Reggie inside pass. Reggie, what I like about him is that he doesn't always play the ball in the air. He doesn't just blindly cross it like, Aaron Wan-Bissaka or something like that. He actually tries to pick out his man. He tries to find someone that is actually open. And when he does that, he actually doesn't need to then put it into the air. He can just put it on the floor to somebody. And that's why probably Region has actually some of the most goal creating actions in our entire squad. I do believe he still has the most goal creating actions in our entire squad. So that's what I would say. Everybody respect Reggie, for his ability so far this season. The last one here is Kane playing through the lines. This is obviously something that goes without saying. Hopefully under Conte, we can find that Harry Kane again. We saw that, which is why I think, we were kind of, I don't know why we thought that Kane had a bad game against Vitesse. He didn't have a fantastic game, but I thought he did quite decently. And especially we saw him being able to play through the lines all of a sudden again. We saw him be able to find players, in the ways that he did under Jose, like the Sonny Harry Kane connection. And this is what I see happening is basically Harry Kane just finds himself in the middle, is able to turn his man, is able to find Sonny going in behind. I think it's not too unrealistic, this one, especially because we know that Harry Kane is able to play a ball easily through the lanes there, easily through the channels or through the lines there. It's, again, not too complicated, but it's something that I do find to be very realistic. This one is actually, we'll say, a bit of a beautiful goal. I will say, especially Sonny, looks how he takes it around Pickford there. Honestly, absolutely beautiful. But there it is, everybody. One more time, just to see Harry Kane and Sonny kind of lining up close to each other. That Jose Mourinho kind of connection that we saw. Harry Kane and Sonny will definitely pass Lampard and Drogba for the most goals created between two players. I definitely see them breaking that record, and that will be a fantastic record for two guys to hold, certainly. But there you are, everybody. Those are our three animations, or their three threats for this upcoming match. Just want to get to some more comments first. Spurs Squad saying, well done, your spat stream. Sess needs a sick to walk his dog. Not convinced. Yeah, honestly, I'm getting very pissed with him so far, Spurs Squad. Honestly, the guy's on the operating table too much these days. Louis Titmus, Brozovic wants to leave. If we get him in Kessie and retain Højbjerg and Skip, we are getting Sarr next season. Conte wanted Ndombele and Inter. Apparently, he's doing private training with him, I heard. That's what that private fitness coach is for, Lewis. That's what the private fitness coach is for. It's all for Tanguy, I would say. But yeah, if we get Brozovic and Kessie in, I think that would be absolutely brilliant. And then keep Højbjerg and Skippy as a bit of backup. I think then we would have the whole midfield figured out, especially with Papa Matasar coming in. Definitely agree. We need to get more players in the box when we attack. 3-5-2 may achieve that if two or three midfielders get forward. But that's kind of the issue at the moment, Adrian. So we don't really have the midfielders that like to get forward. I think Højbjerg likes to get forward. Skippy doesn't get forward at all. But, if we get more box-to-box midfielders, we'll be able to achieve that. But that's what that Metsala role is for, Adrian. That's what that Metsala role is for. So I completely agree, my man. Men, not boys. We do need men in the team. That's absolutely correct. John Fitzpatrick, I just know Conte will be the one that ships out the dead one, get us back to where we all want to be in the Champions League and challenging for titles. Love that, John. Absolutely love that. At the moment, we don't need McKennie when he's not the best passer, and that's the weakness of all of our mids. Very good point, and that's how I feel about it. 92 Flamethrower. I think Højbjerg is a better passer of the ball, actually, than McKennie. I think McKennie is a fantastic all-around midfielder. But I would say, he's not the greatest passer of the ball. Whereas someone like Frank Kessie, I think, is a better passer of the ball. So that's why I would go for Frank Kessie instead. And Paulo Miguel Escobardo knows what I mean. I wouldn't mind a Milinkovic-Savic. I think we all wouldn't mind a Milinkovic-Savic. I'll tell you that, Alejandro Perez. Milinkovic-Savic, in my belief, is one of the best midfielders in world football. He's just one of the best midfielders in world football. I think he's probably would go for a ridiculous price. I think he's actually a better version of Pogba, in my belief. I think, especially Man United, I think what they've been looking for, what they've been trying to ask Pogba to do is basically what Milinkovic-Savic does, if you ask me. So they probably should have gone for someone like him, Donny van de Beek over Kessie and McKennie. I would disagree with that, Liam, but everyone, maybe you're a big Van de Beek fan, so there you are. But I would probably put Kessié over Van de Beek, just because I don't think Van de Beek solves a lot of our problems. I think Kessié would probably solve more of our problems than Van de Beek would, but I certainly wouldn't say no to Van de Beek. I'll tell you that. We should get Dwight McNeil. I'm a huge Dwight McNeil fan, Richard. I'm a huge Dwight McNeil fan. I think the guy is actually very underrated. I think he's always been very underrated, and I really love his ability to create chances. I prefer sincerely Kessié. I really do agree, Francesca. Yeah, I completely agree there. Better analysis than the corporate channels. Thank you, True Sets Free. Really do appreciate that. Thank you very much. Um, yeah, honestly, this is my problem with Delhi as well, is that he's just not he's just past it. Like he just doesn't have the ability that he used to. He just doesn't. And he doesn't have the pace that he used to. He doesn't have the naivete that he used to. He's also just quick little thing on Delhi, everybody. I think we sometimes even say, like, oh, his best season, or, like, he's been out for 3 seasons. It's actually been 5 seasons if you count it a certain way. 21-22 is one, 20-21 is two, 19-20 is three, 18-19 is four. His last good season was 17-18, which is five. So it's really been about, maybe you want to, down count and go 4 seasons, but it's been 4 or 5 seasons since Delhi was, last at his best. So I think we have to realize that, we just have to realize that the guy is not ever going to cut it to the same level that he used to. And the level that he used to be at was unbelievable. But that's what we're all holding out for. And I think that's kind of the big problem. I think that's what we're all holding out for, which is a huge issue, if you ask me. But hopefully this is the right therapy for you, True Sets for you. Hopefully this is the right therapy, and very much appreciated for all the support, my man. Very much appreciated. But let's go to players to target. Michael Keane, I would absolutely target. The guy has looked very shaky this season. I think he's kind of prone to a lot of mistakes. He's not the greatest when someone's dribbling at him as well. So maybe if you have Sonny or someone dribbling at him, he can pick up an early yellow card. When you pick up an early yellow card against Michael Keane, he will then have to subdue himself and, find, not be as aggressive as he would like. And also as well, I think he's been, looked a lot better when he has someone like Yerry Mina alongside him. Yerry Mina is missing for this match. So I do say you target Michael Keane. Ben Godfrey, I think, is actually a good defender. So I wouldn't target him. I think he is a good defender. Luca Digne, I would target. I think his defensive capabilities are not as strong as Seamus Coleman's, in my belief. And he also can get a bit too far forward at times. And so you could expose that, especially maybe someone like Emerson and Lucas, maybe kind of making life hard for him. He can also pick up an early yellow card as well. Luca Digne, he definitely can have a few rash tackles and things like that. But he's also very good going forward. He's very good going forward. So kind of goes a bit both ways. And then Fabian Delph, who I do expect to start this match, will also be someone that I would absolutely target, just because the guy has been constantly injury prone. He's decent, at times, but he can also be exposed alongside Allen. I feel like him and Allen together, it's not the strongest defensive pairing or center midfield pairing. So I really would go after Fabian Delph. I wouldn't target Allen as much. I do really rate Allen. I think he's actually a good center midfielder, but I would go after Fabian Delph. Again, injury prone, hasn't really played too much football in the past few seasons, and certainly maybe could get exposed and maybe overrun in the midfield. That would be my belief in that regard. But a key battle, we move on. Oh, sorry about that. Go on to a key battle. It's going to be exactly what I was just talking about. We have to dominate the midfield. We have to choke out the midfield. And so we should do Højbjerg Skip as one key battle versus Fabian Delph and Allen. Whoever controls the midfield in this match does control the game, especially, I will say, because I do expect Everton to really sit deep in this match. So we should be able to see us maybe control the midfield in that regard. Moving on, we're going to see Reguilón against Seamus Coleman is going to be a huge one. Seamus Coleman is going to have a lot to deal with because Reguilón is going to be bombing forward against him, and hopefully we'll be able to pin Seamus Coleman back. Reguilón, I'd like to see him skin his man, being Seamus Coleman lots of times, and maybe also combined with Sonny, and that would be absolutely brilliant to watch. But that is all for tonight, everybody. That is absolutely all for tonight. Again, hopefully you've all enjoyed it. Hopefully again, this has been the Stats with Jack that everybody seems to be enjoying so far. Again, hopefully maybe you like it when it's by myself for this one. I will say, it's been kind of a nice, kind of a chilled out, Stats with Jack, big good vibes with you guys. Been really enjoying it. So again, before I kind of end it off here, hopefully, you guys, if you want to ask me any more questions or throw in a super chat as well, if you want me to answer your question, maybe in a bit more detail, feel free to do so. Also, just to support the channel, support me, support David, support us on our journey as well, would be greatly appreciated. And so really do, hope that, you guys have enjoyed this one. Really do hope that you've enjoyed it, and also appreciate that you guys have all tuned in for this as well. Really do. Thank you very much. Kuva99 says, when you set players to target, Michael Keane wasn't watching the screen. I thought you meant transfer target. My keyboard is covered in tea. No. Oh my God. Honestly, I wouldn't even know if I would accept Michael Keane for free. I really wouldn't think I would accept him for free. Oh, but figure yourself out. Honestly. Oh no, I wouldn't, Kuva. I really wouldn't go after him at all. I really wouldn't. I think the guy's pretty atrocious at defending. I really do. Don't really rate him. Don't really rate him at all. I think Yerry Mina has made him look very good. I think Yerry Mina has made him look very good, and there will be no Yerry Mina to defend him anymore, Kuva. There will be no Yerry Mina to defend him. So, Kuva, thank you very much as well for the super chat, but also as well, no, not transfer target. I do mean players to hurt. I do mean players to take advantage of. And Kuva99, as always, making me laugh. The comedian, the Harris Army. Big yourself up, Kuva. I really do appreciate it, my man. True Set's free. Also with another super chat saying, Conte'S starts Juventus run and ends it on one try, and 10 years later, no big deal. Yeah, big yourself up. And also, like True Set's free, Kuva is always making us laugh. Honestly, is. And Jack Chamberlain says, great stream, worth the wait. Pick up, Jack. Really appreciate it, my man. Pick up Mr. Chamberlain. And also Ben Kaufman, thank you very much. Zanuska, thank you very much as well. Really do appreciate all the support. I really do. It honestly does mean a lot to me that you guys have tuned in for this one. Really appreciate all the support that I've received on this channel. You guys have made me feel very much at home with you guys. It's honestly a big one happy family. And so I will be ending it off tonight, unless anybody has any more questions or anything. I will be ending it off tonight. Or even, as well, maybe if you guys want to throw in a super chat, like I said, in order to, kind of maybe ask me any tactical questions or things like that. Everybody, we will be doing a watch along, I believe, with Josh, the Tottenham guy, tomorrow. I think Phil Latis might join us as well. We'll be doing a watch along tomorrow at 2 p.m. I do believe the watch along will be starting at around 1:45 British Standard Time, around 8:45 East Coast time or New York time. So there you are, everybody. The watch along will be happening tomorrow. Will you race Davies for charity? True Set's free. I actually used a V in track and field, and I used to run the 200 meter and run the 400 meter. So I would like to say that Ben Davies at full sprint, certainly I would like to take my chances. I'd take my chances against the guy. I honestly think maybe I could beat him in a race, but that really is saying something because I haven't honestly done a full sprint in a long time. So pick up. There you are. In January, who should we get for left center back? There are lots out there. I would then direct you towards, to the our second channel, Lewis Tillman. I would definitely direct you towards our second channel, because with our second channel, a lot of those questions are answered. A quick answer to that would probably be Maxence Lacroix. I definitely would go after. I think I believe he's left-footed, if I'm not mistaken. If not, he can even play in that kind of left center back role. So I've been told and so I've seen. Edmund Tapsova from Bayer Leverkusen I would go after because he's a fantastic passer of the ball. Obviously, we're going after De Vrij. Stefan De Vrij from Inter. He could probably play the left center back role because he's very good on the ball as well. I'm trying to think of another left-footed center back. And I'm drawing blanks. So I will probably, be able to, answer that probably on the second channel sometime soon. So please check that out, Lewis Tillman. Please check that out. Big up, though, Para Miguel Escoberto. I really do appreciate that. When's the next stream? Great one today. Yeah, it'll be tomorrow. Watch along, Lewis, at 8:45 my time, around 2 or 1:45 in the UK as well. Though there's going to be a very early kind of preview to the match as well. That will be happening just early. I will be in bed. It will be around 5 or 6 a.m. I think my time. I think it's happening around 10 a.m. Think it's happening around 10 a.m. British Standard Time. So please, if you're over there, stay tuned for that one as well. Lewis, definitely I would check out that one. So that would be the two streams that are happening tomorrow, my man. Big up, Devin. Big yourself up. Don't worry, Josh. There's nothing to worry about, my man. It's all over, Matthew. But thank you very much for joining us now. Hopefully, you're keeping well. Thank you very much, Patty Harnett, James Watson. Big yourself up. Thank you for joining us as well. Just making sure I'm not missing anybody. 10 a.m. as David the Irish Hotspur says. Island Life saying, "Come on, you Spurs." I could outrun Davies while sporting 2 broken legs and hauling an overloaded shopping truck. Definitely so, honestly. Definitely so. I could probably even carry, probably multiple children in my arms while probably doing a Cuba. There you are. Jacob Mitchell saying, yeah, you were talking about transfer targets before, and I thought you were saying Fabian Delph would fix for midfield. Yeah, maybe I'll just change the title for that one in the future. Maybe I'll just change the title for that one. But there you are, everybody. Please like and subscribe. Please hit that notification bell to never miss another Stats with Jack. Again, thank you for joining me for this one. It's, as always, been good vibes. Really nice chilling out with you guys. Really nice just kind of getting tactical insight and stuff for tomorrow. Hopefully you have a good idea of how maybe we can beat Everton tomorrow. Also, how maybe Everton can hurt us. But that'll be all for now. Come on, you Spurs. And in Conte we trust. Everywhere we go.